Over the past couple days, I've made videos talking about YouTube targeting channels and why that's a problem. And to give you a quick summary, InfoWars is facing their channel being banned. YouTube has said they've accidentally taken down a ton of right-wing channels and they're going to start restoring them. But the issue is, when YouTube starts deciding what is right, what is wrong, what content is correct, I should say, then eventually they're going to start taking down legitimate news. And the example I give is when my story correcting the AP was taken down by YouTube citing harassment, and then the AP corrected a day later. Joining me right now is Luke Rutkowski of
We Are Change.
And we are both about to head to LibertyCon in Washington, D.C. The reason I'm going to talk to Luke right now is because I think Luke might be one of the original getting screwed by YouTube channels, and Luke's laughing, right? Because it's like, yep, been there. But here's what's important is that Luke has been producing news content on the ground for a long time. And even in my experience dealing with Google, I feel like they've shortchanged Luke. Even in the conversations I've had with them when I'm like, oh, check out Luke Rutkowski. And so Luke here has a bunch of notes of the history of YouTube purging.
Well, disorganized notes. And yeah, I mean, as you said it, we've been getting screwed by YouTube way before it was cool to be screwed by YouTube. I mean, starting off in the kind of digital media age all the way back in 2006, there were so many other platforms. We didn't know YouTube was going to take off. I started playing around with it, but then there was Blip, and Blip allowed videos that are longer than 10 minutes, so we went on Blip. But we were on YouTube somewhat, and I remember like just typing in censorship into all my videos. We have about 1,000 videos on our channel on We Are Change, and the first one that came up was a video all the way from 2008. When we as an independent organization were calling for a YouTube blackout because Google acquired YouTube and was changing the terms and services and the use, and we were saying this is going to lead to censorship. They're going to screw us over eventually. Watch out. Google, Skynet, seed funding from intelligence agencies. Don't do it. And it's coming to fruition.
So that's nearly 10 years later.
That's exactly 10 years ago, where we were saying boycott YouTube. Google just bought them. They're changing the terms and services. They're very vague. They're going to use it against us with the people that are connected to Google. And now that's exactly what's happening. And it's been happening to us even earlier on. I mean, I think the thing that really kicked it up a bunch of notches is that as a news organization, we confronted Eric Schmidt at Bilderberg. And ever since then, our Google accounts really haven't. He's the former head of Google, now head of Alphabet, and working with the Pentagon to make the Department of Defense more tech savvy. So, Hillary Clinton supporter, globalist, Bilderberger, interconnected.
See, hold on. You just dropped some buzzwords that I hear on InfoWars.
Yep.
And they've got an axe to grind against that kind of rhetoric, I guess.
Well, no, they're kind of with the kind of like, if Trump's with the globalists, they're kind of with them too now. So it's kind of confusing with that whole paradigm and how that's breaking down. So, but just to explain it shortly, after the confrontation,
before you move on, I want to point out something. Hold on, actually, when did you confront Eric Schmidt? When was that?
That was around 2014.
Okay.
And then after that, like, that's when it all started.
That's what I want to point out. Yeah. So I remember back in 2014, Luke, you started hitting me up saying that your ads were being shut off. So before demonetization was a widely known thing, Luke was talking to me saying, dude, I don't know what's happening. My videos are just, the ads are being shut off, and you had to go back in and just turn them on. That was like the first version of demonetization.
Yeah, that was the first little version. They were just kind of playing with us, toying with us a little bit. And then a little bit later in 2014, they just made sure we couldn't even review videos. So all of our videos were monetized, and then a large portion of them were just cut off from monetization without explanation, without notification. YouTube never did this to anyone else that I know of or heard about. And literally, we're like online, and I'm just watching my video manager, and we're like, I never seen this. No one else in the community's seen this. It's just nothing. There used to be a green symbol next to all the videos, and then the majority of them, just no symbol at all. We contact everyone. We contact our YouTube managers. We contact YouTube. We contact troubleshooting, and they're like, we don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So we were getting heavily demonetized with a major network that we weren't a part of a major network then, but now we are, and we're still getting screwed the same way.
But now everyone's getting a yellow $sign.
Yeah, and now you could review it and have someone manually review it. They didn't do that for us.
They just
They're like, no, you're totally gone. You're totally gone. Then Some people used to do interviews with me. There was 2 people in particular in one time. So this was only a short time frame. There was a guy in Thailand and a guy in India that interviewed me, and they put my name into the tags, into the title of the video. When they did that, their videos were automatically demonetized, and then they clicked for review after they deleted my name from it, and it was automatically monetized. So that was only a short period of time. It's not happening now, but that happened before. Then there's the restricted mode that we saw recently, where we pretty much couldn't see any channel, but you did see CNN and their host eating brains on national television doing that.
Hold on. Let me give some context there, because he's not wrong. Reza Aslan on a show ate it was a small piece, albeit it was human brain. He ate a piece of human brain on TV. It was a very big controversy.
And had poop thrown on him, which was very entertaining. I've rewinded that a couple of times. But like, CNN's literally eating human brains. But like, you want to talk about geopolitical issues calmly, peacefully, without cursing on our YouTube channel? You want to talk about what's really happening there in the world? No, we're going to totally cut you off.
So let's pause
March
right here.
2015. Whole nother demonetization. Like, we got hit heavily on March 2015.
Wait, let's
almost everything was demonetized without explanation. Again.
Let's say Luke was saying earlier that he didn't think he was going to be energized for this, and now that he's looking through his list of all the times he's been screwed over,
I'm angry. CNN is eating live brains on television.
So
they're getting premium advertisements. YouTube's just bowing down, putting out the red carpet to the mainstream media and the establishment, authoritative voices that lied and got us into war and protect the banksters, and really just ultimately I see as the biggest pain in the butt for humanity and the biggest problems facing between us and actual freedom and happiness and living a great life. It's the mainstream media.
Let's talk about like the kind of content you do, because there's I'm gonna point this out, Luke. Yeah. There was a point when Google Glass came out. If you said, okay, Glass, who is Tim Pool? It would be like, Tim Pool is a journalist. And if you said, who is Luke Rutkowski? It would say, he is a conspiracy theorist. So you've had content. I don't think as long as I've known you, actually, you haven't been anything that I would consider to be conspiratorial.
Yeah, I mean, we can't prove, like, this talk that we're talking about could be considered conspiratorial, but there is a lot of correlation, and I'll let people make up their own minds. But I think it's pretty clear with the way YouTube is coming, there's either 2 options here. Either it's a monetary one because they want to be the new TV, or either it's a kind of bigger, kind of more sinister, let's shut up all these voices, let's have control of the dialogue. And I think it may be even a combination of the 2, depending on who you're talking to and how high level we're going.
So I want to say, when I try to explain Luke's channel today, you call out, you talk about foreign policy, you've confronted high profile individuals like you mentioned, Eric Schmidt, a lot of people, and celebrities even, like activist celebrities and things like that. I would actually put you, when people ask me, like, what is Luke? Is he left or is he right? I say, he's kind of like The Intercept, like Glenn Greenwald a little bit, but to the right. So I noticed that you guys tend to talk about similar things. You both call out the politicians, regardless of who they are, Trump, Hillary, you call it foreign policy.
I just think both sides are stupid. I think you shouldn't make up your mind on an issue before actually hearing the issue and just base it on your kind of gang affiliation. Everything deserves to be heard. There's always gray areas. And just like, look at the issues. Here's my sources. I source everything I talk about so people could actually do their own research and make up their own mind, which not many people do, but should.
And I have a question for you. Did you accuse anybody in Parkland of being a crisis actor?
No.
Okay, so that's what I want to point out. When you start talking early, you talk about the globalists, the bankers, and things like that. Those are words that we hear a lot on the Alex Jones channel.
Yep.
But I want to make sure people know, like, I'm not interested in the conspiracy stuff, and I wouldn't be hanging out with you if you were, putting out stuff that was unconfirmed.
Well, people are full of crap if they're just making things up and not showing you why they made up their own opinions, even in that way. People are just speculative, and I think we have enough of that. And the mainstream media does enough of that, and we have to be so much better than they are if we're ever going to be successful. And seriously, independent media does need to step their game up. We can't just be speculating because it's going to lead to a nice clickbait title. That doesn't help anything. It just diverts us down. I still got more on my list, by the way, with how YouTube screwed us over. Hold on. At one time, we had 660 videos just totally demonetized one day, out of the blue. out of nowhere. Around 2015, 2016, we saw our numbers, we saw our analytics go up dramatically on almost every single platform, but down dramatically on YouTube, which made no sense at all, especially when we had a huge staff increase. We were doing more work than ever. Just even last year, compared to this year, our organic reach has doubled, but our viewership is 1/4 of what it used to be last year, and we have over 500,000 subscribers. The likes to dislike ratios don't matter. There's little problems that could be troubleshooting errors with, but it's so many people coming to me being like, I was unsubscribed to your channel, I put on the notifications, I don't get them. Again, this could all be because YouTube is just a big mess, or this could be a little bit more sinister. I think it's a combination of both, and I think the way YouTube is heading right now, I think they're saying that a lot of this is mistakes. I don't think it was. Again, this is only my just personal viewpoint here, because I think they're slowly kind of pushing, seeing what they could get away with, and I think with their actions they demonstrated that throughout the years, that they just keep pushing, seeing how far they could push the community that made them what they are, as they capitulate and bow down to the establishment.
So I think why this is particularly relevant is that you recently tweeted out some analytics from your YouTube channel. And even though you're posting every day, right? You post,
yeah.
So let me just say this: like the algorithm, it's widely believed that you post every day. You post at least 10 minutes, and YouTube should be suggesting your videos because it's showing an active engagement with the community. Luke has certainly been doing that on your channel.
Yeah, and I've been losing 100 subscribers every day.
You're losing,
like 100 subscribers, 183 yesterday, like 100 subscribers every day. I mean, it could be because of bots and they do bot purges, but for it to be consistent within the last kind of 2 weeks to a month of just constantly losing subscribers, it makes no sense.
No, what does make sense is that in the past few weeks, we've been hearing nonstop about banning conspiracy theory channels and videos. Mm-hmm. And we heard that a couple days ago, YouTube apologized for purging a bunch of right-wing channels. They claimed that it was affecting everybody, that it was the left, the right, the center, but it's at the right that noticed. But I think it's safe to say they've come out and said, oops, on the right-wing stuff. They've come out and said they're going to de-rank what they view as a conspiracy theory. And this is what I've been highlighting, and I think you're a good example of this. I flat out said there will come a time that YouTube is going to decide what is a conspiracy and what isn't, and they're going to just blanket target some journalists. And regardless of what, I think you can look at your history, because you did some work with InfoWars in the past, right? Like 10 years ago?
Way long ago, and just affiliates.
Right. Yeah. And the reason I want to bring that up is, like, you've certainly been involved in what I would personally consider conspiracy theorist kind of stuff. 9/11 Truth, maybe like.
Well, that was calling for a new investigation and helping out 9/11 first responders. But this is I think the point you're trying to get here is Google can't be the orator of truth, because if, say, we go back to 2002, right after 9/11, right before the Iraq War, all the authoritative government official voices were saying that there was weapons of mass destructions in Iraq. If people online were saying, no, there's not, here's the evidence, here's this, we would have been banned, we would have been censored, we would have been deleted, we would have been ignored and wiped off from even having this debate and discussion that's needed to be had, because Google and YouTube are going off the authoritative government voices, and they do bow down to them. Governments delete videos on YouTube all the time and have carte blanche ability to do so.
The reason I bring up what I did is that I want to make sure people, like, if I don't bring up that you were involved in the I guess what would you call it, calling for a new investigation, stuff like that,
yeah,
that's considered conspiratorial by the mainstream. But I personally have no problem with people saying we should have an investigation or saying support the families. And in my opinion, regardless of anything you've done in the past, I met you after this. I think you've done a pretty good job, a really good job. Since I met you in 2011, I haven't seen you put out anything that I would consider to be total BS. In fact, there are outlets that I would consider to be relatively good, and I think Luke does a pretty good job of this, because you're very careful not to make definitive statements on things you aren't sure of. And not only that, but you even source the mainstream.
Yeah, just be honest. Just be honest with yourself. If you believe something based on kind of coincidences or kind of a line of events that happened, say that. Don't say this is the ultimate truth. You have to believe me. They're gonna kill you and take away your balls and all this other stuff. Don't believe me. Don't do that.
Like a particular bigger YouTube. No,
yeah,
but I want to point out that I think when YouTube starts deciding that, oh, you know what, this is probably fake news, we don't like this guy, they start punishing your channel. And you did what? You did like an on-the-ground story in Venezuela. Mm-hmm. Like you went with me to Japan. You've been on the ground reporting.
We snuck into Fukushima together.
Well, we don't really sneak in.
Well, technically we did. We weren't
Yeah,
supposed
no.
to be there, and we were in the.
So I think there's a difference between what we do, but I think you are a good example of when YouTube decides. I honestly, I feel like there's somebody at Google, and this is conspiratorial in my opinion. Like I just think it's a greater than chance probability. There's somebody at Google who looked at your channel and says, I don't trust this guy, and we should de-rank his channel because of it.
Yeah, because of just labels and associations and not critical thinking and not actually doing your own homework. And sadly, that's the epitome of what we're facing. And it could change with all of you guys doing your own homework, not believing anyone else. Don't put anyone above yourself. Believe yourself. Do your homework. Do your research.
Here's the problem.
Be independent.
They're watching.
Yeah, you're watching, but we're talking about it, and it's step one. Don't believe anyone.
Right. Here's the sad thing. All of you who are watching or listening to this video are part of the solution. And part of the solution isn't trusting me, trusting Luke. It's that you're listening to an alternative. That's all that matters. I don't care if you hate my channel, if you hate me, if you think I'm a liar. The fact that you're getting multiple opinions is part of the solution. How do we reach, last question, because we're running a little long, but how do we get to the regular people who are watching the TV?
Decentralize everywhere, word of mouth. You guys are more important than ever. I've been on Steam and I've been on DTube. We're on BitChute. There's Minds. There's all these other platforms. No one's there except the people getting screwed over. But
BitChute, man, BitChute's doing.
But
wow.
We're building, but we're growing, we're learning, we're evolving, and the revolution, the truth will not be in your timeline. You will not be notified of the truth, especially when there's so much power and wealth connected to these bigger institutions, with them creating such vast connections to such powerful people. Don't expect anything from them. Decentralize as much as you can. If we resonate with you, share the videos, subscribe, go on our websites, go on our email lists. Most importantly,
they do.
Please do.
They do.
And spread it around. And I'm optimistic. If I wasn't optimistic, like, I've been getting kicked in the balls by YouTube since 2008. There was a lot of fake copyright strikes even against us. CNN put a fake copyright strike against me 3 weeks ago. That's on the list too. It took away my live streaming abilities illegally. Strike was uncalled for. Whatever, that got cleared up. Anyway,
I don't know what you did on your end. I actually, when Luke got a false copyright strike from CNN, I was in contact with someone from YouTube, and it just so happened it was coincidental. There was a I can't necessarily talk about it, but it's nothing interesting. It's Q&A. They ask channels like how do you feel, but I asked them. I said, hey, my buddy's got a false copyright strike. And it was like a week and a half, 2 weeks, what was it, of you not being able to live stream?
Almost a month.
And
yeah.
And did you have any contact with Google?
Yeah, I emailed them. I was like, hey, this is a false copyright strike. I wasn't using CNN's video. I was using C-SPAN's videos. Talked to the channel manager. They're like, yeah, we're reaching out. We're talking to them. They're not getting back to us. They never got back to me, which has been happening for 10 years now. They don't respond to us.
Yeah. I think the simple solution is there's way too many creators.
Of course, and it's a big old mess too. Because how can you watch, and police the amount of videos that are on YouTube right now?
Yeah. But I want to butt that because they've been coming at your channel for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Before demonetization existed, Luke was getting demonetized. So
yeah.
I think somebody there knows who you are. I think that's a fair assessment. Not
I can't prove it definitively.
Right.
Most likely, potentially, yes.
But I think you're on a radar at least. They're familiar with you.
Don't confront Eric Schmidt. Don't confront.
These
other people. And
okay.
Hey, if I could do it again, I would do the same thing again. To be honest with you, the audience has been there for me. The cryptocurrency community has been there for me. And this is why we are who we are. This is why we have such a following. It's because we don't give a damn. He's there. He deserves to be held accountable no matter how much power. I'm not going to circumvent and go down and bow down to him. He deserves some reality. He deserves some truth, and we're going to give it to him no matter what.
All right, man. Well, thanks for sitting down.
No
we're about to get out. We're shaking our hand, but we're about to go on the road and drive to DC together. So you'll probably see Luke again. But what's youtube.com/wearechange?
Yeah, just wearechange. No, steamit.com/@LukeWeAreChange.
There you go.
Different alternative DTubes on there too, and it's awesome. And I love cryptocurrencies.
All right, man.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to wrap up with one final thought. I think it's common sense that if you confront the CEO of the company in which you are running your business,
yeah,
they're going to start screwing with you.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
But thanks for watching. We're going down to DC for LibertyCon. It's gonna be great. Maybe get some interviews. We'll figure out what's going on, and then follow me on Twitter @Timcast for breaking news. And if you haven't already subscribed, do so now. And I will see you tomorrow at 4 p.m.